The lunchbox that exposed. Her secret. It started as an ordinary morning. Tunde woke up early, like he always did, to prepare his wife's lunch before she left for work. Amaka was running late, hurriedly grabbing her bag and keys as she kissed him goodbye. "Love you," she said, flashing a quick smile before rushing out the door. Tunde chuckled, shaking his head. Amaka was always in a hurry, always busy. But as he turned back to the kitchen, something caught his eye. Her lunchbox, sitting right there on the counter. She never forgot her lunch. Never. Smiling to himself, he decided to surprise her. It was a simple gesture, but he imagined her excitement when he showed up at her office with a neatly packed meal. He got dressed quickly and headed out. When he arrived at her workplace, he walked in confidently, greeting the receptionist. "Good morning. I'm here to see my wife, Amaka. She forgot her lunch at home," he said, holding up the lunchbox. The receptionist gave him a confused look. "Amaka?" she repeated. "But she's been on leave for a week now." Tunde's smile froze. His grip on the lunchbox tightened. "Are you sure?" he asked, his voice quieter now. "She left for work this morning." The receptionist hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, sir. She hasn't been to the office for days." Something cold spread through Tunde's chest. He took a deep breath and stepped aside, quickly pulling out his phone. His fingers hovered over the screen as he dialed her number. "Hey, babe." Amaka's voice came through, sounding casual. "Hey, where are you?" Tunde asked, his voice carefully steady. "Oh, I'm in a meeting, love. Can I call you back?" A long silence. Tunde clenched his jaw, his fingers still holding the lunchbox, curled into a fist. "Sure, call me back." He ended the call without another word. His heart was pounding now, but his mind was clear. If she wasn't at work, then where was she? A new idea formed, one that made his stomach turn. He pulled up the location tracker they had installed on their phones months ago, back when trust wasn't a question. Her phone's location blinked on the map. It wasn't at her office. It wasn't anywhere near it. It was in a neighborhood he didn't recognize. Tunde's grip on the steering wheel was like iron as he followed the GPS. The drive felt longer than it was, each second thick with suspicion, and something heavier, dread. Finally, he pulled up in front of a house, a small, quiet house with curtains drawn. His wife's location was right there. He stepped out of the car, heart hammering against his ribs. He walked up to the door and knocked. Silence. He knocked again, harder this time. A shadow flickered behind the curtain. Then, the door slowly creaked open, and Tunde saw something. Someone that made his blood run cold. The lunchbox slipped from his fingers, hitting the ground with a soft thud. Tunde's breath hitched as the door opened wider. Standing there, dressed in nothing but a loose robe, was a man he had never seen before. He was tall, well-built, and far too comfortable in a way that made Tunde's stomach churn. The man's brows furrowed. "Yeah?" he said, looking Tunde up and down. For a few seconds, Tunde couldn't speak. His fingers twitched, the cold plastic of the forgotten lunchbox brushing against his feet. "Who are you?" Tunde finally managed to ask, his voice tight. The man let out a small, confused chuckle. "I should be asking you that." Tunde's jaw clenched. He tried to look past the man, into the house. His wife's handbag was on the small console table inside, the one she carried every day. Her shoes, ones she wore just this morning, were neatly placed by the door. His mind struggled to make sense of it, but deep down, he already knew. "Is Emeka here?" he asked, his voice quieter now. The man scoffed, shaking his head. "You're joking, right?" And then, from behind him, came a voice Tunde knew better than his own heartbeat. "Who is it, babe?" The world around him seemed to tilt. Tunde didn't even need to see her face. That one sentence, that one word, babe, was enough to shatter everything. The woman he had loved, the woman he had trusted, was standing inside another man's home. A home that wasn't theirs. Wearing clothes she didn't leave the house in. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. His hands shook, not with rage, but with disbelief. The door opened wider, and there she was, Amaka. Her eyes widened in horror the moment she saw him. "Tunde," she breathed, as if she couldn't believe he was standing there. He stared at her, then at the man beside her. His gaze dropped to the lunchbox on the ground. "You forgot your lunch," he murmured, his voice void of emotion. The silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Amaka opened her mouth, but no words came out. Tunde took a step back, his breath hitching. The betrayal was staring him right in the face. His world, everything he thought he knew, was crumbling in real time. But what would he do next? Walk away? Confront her? Expose the truth? What would you do in his shoes? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more thrilling stories.